Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda Rose. I am so excited to be filming. I feel like I have not sat in front of the camera in a really long time, and in all honesty, I have just been trying to enjoy my summer, get outside as much as possible. And we've had so many rainy days that for the last week, we had all sunshine and it was like, okay, nope. Definitely not going to be inside. Let's get outside. Let's go to the beach. Let's play mini golf. And today just so happened to be a cloudy day. So I was like, all right, perfect day to film. So for those of you that are new to my channel, hi, my name is Amanda Rose and I am a high school teacher in Brooklyn, New York. And for those of you that are returning, thank you so much for returning and consistently watching my videos. I highly appreciate it. You guys help me out so much. And so let's get into this video. I have tried to think about 3 things that I wish I had done when I was a new teacher. Now, I know everyone's first year or even second and third year experiences are totally different. And so as always, these are my own opinions when I look back and consider how I could have made my life easier back then, 10 years ago. What would I have done? So if you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out, and also like this video. Let's get into it. 3 things I wish I had done as a new teacher. So the first thing I wish I had done was apply to jobs closer to home. Now, in New York City, it is very easy to get around. We have the MTA, which is our subway system, and our bus lines. And so in my mind, when I was applying to jobs, I figured it's going to be really easy to get to a school in the Bronx or Brooklyn or Queens or whatever the case may be, because public transportation really does make it easy to get around. And when it is your first year and you're looking for a job, the truth is, you're not necessarily desperate, but you're just so eager to book your first job that you are willing to compromise on a lot of things, such as location or distance of your job. I ended up taking a job that was about 45 minutes on the train, which equals out to about an hour drive, not including traffic. And so when I first took this job, I was so excited about just working somewhere that I didn't necessarily really take into consideration how a far travel time was going to affect me physically and mentally. Now, for some of you, an hour might not be that long, or for others of you, you're probably like, what? 45 minutes going and coming from work? Yes. On top of that, my school let us out at 4 o'clock. And so by the time I would walk to the train, get on the train, or by the time I got on a train that wasn't shoulder to shoulder and you could actually fit inside, it was probably about 4:30. I wouldn't get home until 5:30, 6 o'clock. God forbid I had to go to the supermarket and grab some groceries before home. It's about 6:30. By the time I got home, I was exhausted. Forget about thinking about dinner. Forget about having to plan my next day's lesson. And so my travel time ate up a lot of precious time. And I know that, again, for some people, this is not a big deal, but for me, especially living in this city, that 45 minutes really hurt, especially if you work at a school that lets you out a little later in the day. Another negative about working at a school that is so far is just that when your school does hold events, the boys' basketball games, the girls' softball games, if I did decide to stay for those games, we're getting out at 7. By the time I would get home, it's almost 8 o'clock. Your whole day is gone. And so it really made it difficult to even enjoy after school activities that my school put on because we would get out so late. And so I made a lot of sacrifices because of the distance that if I could have gone back, I would have definitely applied to schools a little closer to home. The second thing is, I wish I had made work friends sooner. Now, I'm a bit of a loner, although I am here on YouTube, My personality is truly introverted. I like to share really personal things with a very small circle of people. I can sit in a group and listen and be engaged, but to talk and really get out of my shell, I do think that I get a bit awkward. And so it took me a really long time to go to a work event or go after school with a bunch of teachers who were going to go out and grab something to eat. I'm going to go home, I have to lesson plan, and then on top of it, because I lived so far, it was really difficult to want to commit to going out after work because then I knew that I would get home really, really late. But I think that making work friends is vital. Not only do you get to bounce off ideas from people, you really do have the comfort of knowing if I have a question and I don't always want to go to my supervisor, I don't want to seem incompetent, I can go to a colleague and I can ask questions and you can have no judgment. Hey, this may sound really silly, but what is ABCD? And so I think that having work friends would have provided me with a lot more security and stability mentally to feel safe at my job as opposed to just going, working, and leaving. I know for a lot of people that is the environment that they work in and that they're used to and they enjoy it, right? That's totally different. But for someone like myself, I'm very inquisitive. I constantly have a ton of questions about my work and my environment. And you don't always want to bother the person above you with all of those questions. I think that when we are teachers and when we're new, we may be afraid to ask for help. You don't want to seem like you don't know what you're doing. But having even just two coworkers, that's all you need, is two people that you can go to and not feel judged, I think would have been vital for me and my experience as a new teacher. And the final thing, I wish I had planned my first week better. I have spoken about this in other videos, but I believe that planning out your first week is 100% necessary. It is something that I do now every single year going forward. But in my first year, you're Scrabble brained. You have no idea what you're doing. Maybe you're learning new content, learning a new environment, new school, new students. I totally get it. But planning your first week is going to be a necessity. The way that I would recommend doing this is reach out to your school and ask about school rules. Oftentimes when you're creating classroom rules, you want them to mimic school rules. Find out about the culture of your school. What are the rules here? What are the expectations from students? What is the textbook that is required for your class? Become familiar with the content. Once you create your syllabus and your rules, when do you actually start your first day of content? Map out your first week. And when I say map out, I mean everything. Documents, worksheets, anything your students need to sign, your PowerPoint. Usually the first week is the quote unquote easiest, but you are really establishing systems and structures and routine. Once that first week is out of the way, you will have such a sigh of relief because now you can focus on content. I suggest this to all new teachers that I have worked with, that I come encounter with, people who are becoming teachers that I know. I think that planning out your first week is going to make a major difference. I know that that saying, the way you start doesn't matter, it's how you end. Yeah, in some circumstances, but I think when it comes to teaching, the way you start is actually very important because you set the tone for your classroom, you set your expectations, you set how you want your classroom to function, and that first week, aka that first impression, is highly, highly important. And so please, please, please plan out your first week from beginning to end. What is everything you want to do in between? How long will be your icebreakers? Are you dedicating a whole day to syllabus and class rules? Are you doing like an introductory, almost like a feeler lesson so that students can get interested in the content? What are you doing your first week? I highly, highly recommend you mapping that out from beginning to end for every single day. And I do think that it will help transition you into a much smoother start to your school year. So that is pretty much it, you guys. 3 simple but hopefully helpful tips. And as always, I will see you all in the next video.